I'm Brittany, and in this video I want to talk about the Sun opposite to Uranus in Synastry and what this feels like. And it's a really fun, exciting, unpredictable bond that you have here when you have this aspect in Synastry. And I have been on both ends of it. I've been the Uranus person and I've been the Sun person, and I can see how it plays out. And it's really fascinating, actually, because at the beginning of both of these relationships, it felt like this was the start of something huge. And the amount of excitement and exhilaration and freedom and feeling like you're really onto something here, like this could be it. When it was going to be that first time for us hanging out on the way to that. It felt like that. And also, the first meeting was something very noticeable. Only these two relationships in my life has the first meeting for me been so strong where I felt such an attraction towards these men. When I had this aspect where it just was like the heart flutters and like, wow, that person looks really good looking and like someone that I would want to be around, and like, oh, that could be something type of feeling. But it's not really a stable bond when we have this. It's exciting, it's exhilarating, it's amazing, and it's a wonderful opportunity for great insight and genius realizations on the part of both people. Because when you've got the Sun, which is our sense of self, our individuality, meeting with Uranus, which is our sense of rebelliousness and genius, and where we're really actually connected to more higher spiritual truths on some level, but also where we can sometimes want our individuality at all costs. So the Uranus person in this relationship can seem at first to be very fascinating to the Sun person, and the Sun person gets an opportunity to live out some of their unfulfilled potential, because the Uranus person expresses themselves so freely and recklessly and wildly and fun, and the Sun person looks at Uranus and just says, wow, this amazing, wonderful, genius soul that I've found at the beginning. This is what they see them like. And the Sun person is just awakened to this new sense of who they can be and what they can achieve and what they can do creatively and where they're going in life. Their whole world is just shook up by being in the presence of this exciting Uranus person. And all of this happens with the Uranus person just being themselves. And the Uranus person feels like they can be themselves around the Sun person. And they can express that wild, fun side that's maybe not so readily accepted by every other person in their life. There's a feeling of that the Sun person is like an old friend that they can be with and express that part of themselves that maybe, isn't always liked by everyone else. So right away there's a great openness. And usually very quickly we're getting close here, depending on what else is going on in the rest of the Synastry chart. If there's a lot of Saturn and stuff like that, it can slow this down a bit. And we can just have kind of an exciting feeling, but without the radical, rapid getting together and being really intimate closely. But sexually, usually it happens pretty quickly that both people realize that they want each other and they want to act on that right away. And yeah, there's an easiness and a quickness of being able to get together in this way. But the people are coming from very different worldviews sometimes, or very different worlds even. Like someone could be from a faraway land or maybe a not so far away land, but just living completely different lives and completely different perspectives. So that's actually where some of this excitement is coming from, is because we are meeting with someone that is actually in opposition to what we hold near and dear to us and what is our way of being. For the sun, our way of being. So it's a crazy relationship, and you learn a lot in this, and you learn more than you would learn if you didn't have this aspect. Your whole life can be radically altered with this one. And you will not be the same. And you probably will have a hard time finding any other relationship that will contain this amount of excitement, passion, and freedom and fun. And this can really become a best friends aspect in Synastry, because once we allow each other the freedom to be who we are here, which can be difficult because especially the sun person would like to hold down the Uranus person, because the sun has a lot of their ego involved in this Uranus person, who they think is just the most brilliant, unconventional, kind of hard to pin down figure. And yeah, they can get their ego tied up in them and want to try and hold them down, when Uranus is not really going to be held down by anyone, because this is where we're not willing to be held down. So the Uranus person can kind of come and go and pop in and out of the sun person's life, and this can really affect the self-esteem of the sun person. And actually the sun person can come to hate the Uranus person for their sudden leavings and comings and sudden breaking off of feelings and then coming back in like nothing has happened. So the sun person can really start to just hate the Uranus person. But then at the same time, when the Uranus person pops back in after their little charade of whatever it was that they were doing, the sun person can actually be surprised at their response, where they have this open-armed, they're ready for the Uranus person to come back to them. And it's because there's actually a lot of respect, mutual respect for each other. And even though we have different needs here and we're coming from different worlds, there's still a lot of enjoyment together. And the sun person realizes that they probably won't find another person as exciting as the Uranus person, so they kind of want to keep them around. And you know what? They come to maybe be all right with their sudden comings and goings and maybe their sudden changes of feelings. And because the Uranus person seems to always want to come back to the sun, whether it's just to say hi friend or whether it's to be romantically involved again. Once the Uranus person knows that they have the freedom to sort of come and go on a whim and have their, random fancies of feelings or whatever, they keep coming back, and they like coming back. And the sun person really enjoys them as well. So this can actually last, but there just is that on-off quality. And it depends on the sun signs of the people involved, whether they're going to like this. People with Uranus stuff in their chart, Venus, Uranus, Moon, Uranus, are used to this kind of relationship, or Sun, Uranus. Yeah, they're already used to this kind of relating just because it's their own natal placement anyways. But people that aren't so used to it can really get a little bit fucked up over it, because it's so oh my god, this is the love of my life, it's so exhilarating, this is so fun, it's wonderful. And then the Uranus person is fucking gone. And so the sun person can get a little bit shook up. And often this happens amongst some Pluto contacts as well. So we have this wanting to possess each other, but at the same time, sudden breaks and needing our freedom as well. So it's a tricky one to handle, but if you're a very evolved person and you can see the value in people being different and having different emotional needs sometimes and having different views on life and the world, this can be a really fun and exciting bond. And it's probably going to be that one that you remember and look back on and think, that was really fun. And I sure learned a lot. And I became a different person from that relationship. And the people have fun together. And there's a lot of learning about different things of the world because we've got two people that are coming from very different places sometimes. So we can learn a whole lot about stuff we never would have known if it wasn't for coming into contact with this person. And it's funny though because I've been saying the Uranus person comes and goes and kind of feelings go off and on, but the Sun person can also switch and sort of become more like the Uranus person and even suddenly break off themselves and suddenly start acting cold to the Uranus person. So they both can kind of flip-flop on whatever role it is, on whether there's who's the stable one. It kind of switches, okay? But also I have read that it does better if the Uranus person is the man because the Uranus person will naturally dominate the relationship with their comings and goings. And if you think about it back in, older times, the man did need to come and go to war or go on work trips or whatever, and the female, the wife, would stay at home and, hold the fort, right? So in line with that, if the Sun person is a female and the Uranus person is a male, it can kind of have a relationship theme sort of like that, where Uranus is the man maybe going out to make money, going to war or having to go on business trips or whatever, and then the Sun person just kind of waits for them to be done with that and is there still. When it's the other way around, the female can kind of really irritate the man's Sun as well because she will have the dominant role and he'll be kind of really pulled in and attracted to her, and then she'll cut it off. And so I have read that it can be better if it's the male Uranus and the female Sun, and I could see that too. But like I said, I've been on both sides of this, so I just really have a lot to say about this. And this is a really long video already, but it's a really fun relationship, and I haven't had anything more fun than this. And I would love for it to last because it's just so fun, but it has that unstable quality to it. And Uranus ultimately represents spiritual awakening and new understandings. And from these relationships, I have learned so much about astrology, so much about people, so much about relationships, so much about my own emotions and how to better handle them. And so really these relationships are a blessing because you come to that new understanding. And I think maybe that's why you have such an attraction at the beginning with these relationships, is because of the potential for growth. And maybe it is a soulmate because a soulmate teaches you where you can become stronger. And for the Sun person, they're learning to become stronger in themselves. And when the Sun person becomes strong enough in themselves that they don't need to possess or hold on to the Uranus person, that's when the Uranus person feels all right with sticking around more, and they both can have a more stable bond. And the Uranus person is awakened to their own inner genius by being around the Sun person because the Sun is so fascinated with their presence. So there can be a potential for both people to end up feeling a lot better about themselves after a relationship like this, or if it lasts, they can always be growing and learning from each other and having new fun experiences together. So anyways, this is pretty long, but if that made sense, if you related to it, if you've had this aspect in Synastry with someone, comment. I would love to hear your experience of how it was. And If it was like this, if it wasn't, comment, let me know. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye.